ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Undisputed Heavyweight Champion of the World show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Demon. This is the award-winning Fan Show. Thank you all for joining me. It is another Tuesday edition, start of a new fan show week, and my week also, my regular week started today as well. Did not go down to the Warped Tour in Ventura like I had planned. It was a little discouraging, kind of a sore subject, but I'm open with you guys. I'll give you the gist of it. So, you guys remember I had Kevin Lyman, founder of Warped Tour, on the show for the second time when it was announced that this year's Warped Tour would be the last tour. So I had him on. We talked about that, went over why there was no Pacific Northwest dates and such and such and such and such. And then in the interview, I said, you guys aren't coming to the Northwest, so now I got to pick another spot to try to go to. But last year, I applied for media credentials and got denied, but it was okay because I was in the mindset of, there's always next year. And I said, but Kevin, there's no next year now. So he said, pick a date, and once I've decided to let him know, and he'd take care of me. So I looked at the tour dates and the cities and the lineup. And Ventura it was a weekend, so I wasn't going to need to take time off work. It was a Sunday, so I figured, might as well just take the Monday off. So I'm only missing one day at work, right? Easy choice there. The lineup was great. Taking Back Sunday, Mayday Parade, All Time Low, Real Big Fish, Census Fails, a bunch of my favorites from past tours. So I booked the trip. Book it for my wife and I. She's never been to a Warped Tour either. She had to miss out on all the times that it was at the Gorge, which, that was a tragedy in itself for the final tour to not be at the Gorge, the one venue that artists look forward to going to. And booked our flights. I had a voucher from Southwest from a flight delay that happened. They were giving everybody $200 vouchers, so I used that towards her ticket. It was going to be a nice little California getaway. My friend Jeremy Funk, who's been on the show, he's in Santa Barbara, which is right next to Ventura, so we were going to fly into LAX, hang out with my buddy on Saturday, go to the concert on Sunday, come back home. Short weekend getaway, but a nice getaway nonetheless. So I hit up Kevin. I call him. I email him first, just like I'd done before. Says that the email is no longer going to be in use because this is the last tour, and that's what the email is used for. And so I give him a call. I said, hey, emailed you, but I got this email back. He's like, yeah, I'm on lunch. I'll give you a call later. Cool. So I messaged him a day later after I didn't hear back. I said, hey, just wanted to double check that the date that we picked was good. And, you said to let you know. And he's just like, yeah, just let me know. So I said, we're looking at Ventura on the 24th, on Sunday. Does that work? He said, okay. Didn't really think twice about it. So we get everything arranged. Our friend's supposed to meet us at the halfway point. We were going to see a bit of LA, maybe Malibu, working our way north, and everything was going to be fine. Then he got called into work Sunday. And then that sort of changed things because we were going to stay with our friend, but now travel comes into play, right? You could do Uber or Lyft, but it's spendy. Went to look into renting a car, and they were booked, the economy class, and we didn't want to pay for the next thing up because we're like, we don't know how much actual driving we're going to do once we get, because we're not going to be driving during the concert, It's an all-day festival. So then it comes down to, I also had texted and called Kevin the week leading up to saying, hey, I need the details as far as where media goes to check in, what time check-in is. Didn't hear back. Now I'm a little nervous. And so didn't hear back. The travel issue, it just became a mess within a span of 5 hours. It really was just a mess. So we elected to cancel our plans to go to Ventura, California for Warped Tour. Now the tour goes all the way through August. We could very well catch another date, but we decided to put that money towards the United Bowl, because the United Bowl is now set. That's right. We'll get to that in our headlines. But she has never been to a championship game for the IFL. I've been to the last. This will be my third. And each time she always had, work or something come up that she couldn't do it. So I said, why don't we do this year? And so the fans are very excited for her to be there. And I think it'll work out. I don't have any ill will toward Kevin Lyman or anything. I just kind of want to know, like, hey, what's up? Because you hear one thing and then another thing happens, or I guess doesn't happen, and you just want to make sure that you're cool. But anyway, that was my weekend. Had a nice little staycation. It was very, very much needed. Got a new desk for the studio. I'll post pictures of that later. It's bigger. It's better. It looks fantastic. So much more room for activities now. But yeah, that was my weekend. Hi, Fozzie. Fozzie's going to bat at the microphone while I talk to you guys. And, it was a nice 3-day weekend. And I am convinced, I am firm in my belief that America should stick to the 4-day work week and the 3-day weekend. So that's my little story for you. Sorry if that was a bit drawn out and a little boring, but I figured, you guys needed to know, because I had plans to go to Warped Tour and interview bands and come back with some, stellar content, but it doesn't always work out that way. I will say, though, it gave me some extra time to work on my homework. It was the final weekend for my intro to sportscasting class. Wanted to make sure that I put my best foot forward as far as getting the final project done, so I didn't have to rush. So, everything happens for a reason. It all worked out for the better, but we'll see if there's another date that we can catch later on this summer. So with that then, now that my ramblings are concluded, let's get to the headlines, shall we? What do you think, Fozzie? Headlines? Headlines. And the headlines are that the stage is set. That's right. We ended last week with knowing what the matchups were, and that 2 of the 4 teams were going to advance to the 2018 United Bowl. Where would the United Bowl be played? If Iowa won, it was going to be there no matter who won between Sioux Falls and Arizona. If Iowa lost, though, now it comes down to, is it going to be in Arizona or is it going to be in Sioux Falls? Well, Friday, all the where was answered, but not all of the who. Half the equation was there. Iowa Barnstormers take down the Nebraska Danger. It was a close game at first, but then second half, Iowa was all gas, no break. And I think, that's kind of what you wanted to see going into the championship game from your number 1 seed against the number 4 seed. I would have liked to see maybe a closer game just for playoff sake. But nonetheless, here we are. We have where it will be, Des Moines, Iowa, at the Well, July 7th. First time ever for them hosting a championship. This will be their 3rd championship appearance, however, in their franchise. They did not win the previous 2. So a lot of fans thinking, hoping, maybe 3rd time's the charm. We'll see. I'll be there, and I know a lot of people that will be. This is probably the most centrally located United Bowl that there's ever been, because Sioux Falls, with the exception of Spokane and Tri-Cities, back when they were, in the IFL, was the furthest west other than Arizona. And then you have, of course, Green Bay, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and you had Wichita Falls at one point, Bloomington in West Michigan. This is like the center, and then, of course, there's Nebraska. But yeah, this is like, fans from all the other teams are probably going to come to this one just because they can. It's not, trying to get to Sioux Falls, which some of the fans did, and it's always great for them to go there. But I think there will be a really great fan turnout from around the league for this game, and that's what I'm most excited for. I want to see a packed well. I want to see the well packed well, I guess I should say. But Wells Fargo Arena has the seats to have a fantastic crowd for such a monumental occasion. But yeah, Iowa won first. So Friday night we knew where the United Bowl was going to be. Now who's the second half of the equation? Who's going to come to Iowa to take on the Barnstormers? Well, that one we didn't know about midway through the fourth quarter like we did with Iowa and Nebraska. That one took us to overtime before we knew. And wouldn't you know it, it came down to special teams. Back and forth game. Very, very competitive game. What you would expect between these two and their history. And, can Sioux Falls get back in the win column against Arizona because they've fallen 3 straight, including last year's championship. What does that do to them mentally? So they hadn't beaten Arizona. Last time that they beat Arizona was over a year ago, the season opener last year. And then, of course, they met in the championship game, which was their second appearance together. Rattlers won that one in Sioux Falls, and then the Rattlers have won ever since. So now we've got the big question, like, who's going to come out on top of this? Sioux Falls, man, they were down but never out at times, and it seemed like the Rattlers were playing their kind of football. So we go to overtime. And there's a touchdown by Arizona. The kick, no good. It was blocked, I believe, and that was crazy. So now Sioux Falls needs to score a touchdown and an extra point, and they win. So they drive down, and they kick the extra point, and it is good. 69-68, your final in overtime. What a game it was in Arizona. And both games that were incredible contests happened against Arizona in Arizona, where Arizona lost in overtime. I feel like that's coincidence, but I guess if you're going to be good at something, maybe it's losing. But no, Arizona's a fantastic team. I got friends on there. So Arizona will not have a chance to repeat as champion. Instead, Sioux Falls is now in the fray, right? They will get a chance to get, their 11th? But their streak ended last year. But this is their 8th straight appearance in the United Bowl. Fun fact for you right there. And, of course, Iowa looking for its first championship in franchise history. They're hosting it. They're firing on all cylinders. So this is going to be a hell of a game. For the 10th anniversary of the IFL, I don't think you could ask for a better finale. Very, very, very excited about the 2018 United Bowl. In National Arena League news, though, we did have a few contests, some games. In Carolina, Cobras fell short to Columbus again of their 3 losses. Or is it 4 now? What's the tally here? What do we got? Carolina, of their 3 losses, 2 were to Columbus, 1 was to Jacksonville, and that was the season opener. They have since beaten Massachusetts, Jacksonville, Maine, and Lehigh Valley, but they have not beaten Columbus. So Columbus comes out on top late in the 4th. 57-55 was your final score there. Maine Mammoths fall to the Jacksonville Sharks for their 100th win in franchise history. Sharks get it 51-21, and then the Pirates spread it on the Lehigh Valley Steelhawks 53-34. That is your scores from around the league. And that's going to bring us to the time where I welcome my first guest, Drew Powell, quarterback of the Iowa Barnstormers. So don't go anywhere. We got plenty more of the Fan Show coming up right after this. You're listening to the Fan Show, your home for all things football and nonsense. My special guest tonight, Farouk. Farouk, welcome.
He's no expert, but here's the thing. Football and nonsense is what he brings. Sports talk with a twist. It's the Fan Show.
Do you know him as Kevin from the League? It is none other than very funny Steve Ranazisi.
99% of the population doesn't know who I am, but the 1% do. They yell and scream inappropriate things at me in public.
Kyle Ray. Kyle, welcome.
And I was like, wow, I think we just saw the whole Super Bowl, Phyllis. It's like that scene in The Simpsons, like, why rent the movie? I just saw the best part.
Funny man Brad Williams.
Yeah, I'm here. No, I flew in just for your podcast. I've heard about this podcast. I've heard it's fantastic.
It's Mac and Farva, but they are my special guests tonight. Steve Lemmy Kevin Heffernan.
I was in Mexico for 10 weeks in a Speedo. Like, that was me going to work. I was putting on a Speedo.
Farva is the most fun to play, and it was a blast to do that again, to do Farva again.
So then the makeup artist had to put Vaseline on your body,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then put the powdered sugar on top of that. Is your name really Richard Siemens?
Listen live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night on Spreaker.com or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Joining me now is the quarterback of the Iowa Barnstormers, Drew Powell. Drew, how you feeling, man?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing, Rich?
Doing pretty good, man. I got to say, I am genuinely excited for you guys in the Barnstormers. I really am. I think this is the perfect way so far. I mean, you guys haven't won yet, but I mean, everything that you guys went through from the start of the season with how little of, roster that Dixie was able to keep from last year, putting the pieces in the right places. Of course, you had, your time away when you went up to the CFL. But, it was a history-making season for you guys. You were a huge contributing factor to it. So what's your feeling like after, you've punched your ticket, you guys are going to host your first United Bowl?
Oh, man, it feels great. Honestly, it does. All the hard work that we've put in over these, last couple months and leading up to the season as well for most of us. It feels good, man. It also feels good to see us as a team come together and be able to, get to the championship game. Because I know, contrary to most people believe, it's not like a thing where we just come into camp and say, hey, well, this is a championship team that we have here, especially in the IFL where, a lot of stuff moves around. People, can be gone the next day. So it's beautiful to see how we kind of grew into a championship group. Instead of it just being some type of magic or anything, it just took a lot of hard work and a lot of adversity, guys coming together, and us coming together as a team, and to get to this point. And that's been the best part about it, is just to see how, everything has just came together.
Barnstormers had a really good season last year, but it fell short, and it fell short to Sioux Falls. And now you guys have a kind of, I want to call it once in a lifetime, but you don't know what's going to happen with the league next year or the alignment. But, I mean, this was a matchup that we never thought we would get in a championship setting. And I think with the amount of history between you guys, you couldn't have asked for a better two to be in the finish. But there's been a lot of talk the last couple of years about speaking things into existence. And I know that when I had Dixie on the show a while back, he truly believes that this is your guys' year. I know that Joe Stacy, the voice of the Barnstormers, believes that he's been witnessing something special. But Dixie's mindset and his motto all season has been #championship mindset. So have you guys believed that now? Like, has it been spoken into existence that you're now in the championship and that all it took was you guys to just believe in what he was preaching to you?
Yeah, definitely, man. I think that's what we've been doing all year. When he first kind of told us as a team, we kind of was, took it as kind of corny. It doesn't have like the same ring to it as some other slogans and stuff like that. But that's all we've been doing all season, man. And that's what we embraced. And without even knowing it, pretty much, we came into camp and we were ready to, take the league by storm. And then we're just putting a name to it, just added, that extra fuel motivation. So guys are taking it and running with it now. You see guys putting it on their Twitter, you see guys putting it on all their social medias and stuff like that. So, well, as a team, we're embracing it. It's just beautiful to see how, like you said, he can speak those things into existence, and just him being a leader and him being able to, establish his vision into the team is a good thing to see.
As a quarterback and a leader on the team, being around the block a few times in this league and in football, what is your hands-down favorite thing about Coach Wooten?
You said favorite thing?
Yeah.
I think my favorite thing is just the intensity and the passion for the game. Just because I'm one and the same as far as that goes, man. I just love to see how passionate he is, how determined he is about football, and then on top of that about winning.
So anytime you're able to get in the same building as a guy like that is awesome to see. And I know you guys can see it on YouTube, and if you come to the game, you can definitely see all that passion. And the best part about it is after he screams at you or gets on you for messing up, he'll come right back to you and be able to calm down and have a good conversation with you, and then be able to fix whatever needs to be fixed and go out on the field and execute.
Yeah, he's certainly a passionate coach, to say the least, and I've seen that on YouTube and of course during the broadcast and when I was there. But he will, that's game mode, Dixie Wooten, right? And he's very much a coach of the players. He's looking out for your guys' best interests. As a quarterback, what would you say that you've learned from Coach Wooten this year as far as your professional career goes?
I think he taught me a deal, a lot about, especially at the professional level. With me being with Coach Chen last season, I learned a lot as well from him. Just about getting the ball out of your hand, just about being a professional and doing everything the right way. And I think Coach Wooten has helped me become a better leader, all in all. He told me at the beginning of the season that we count on you as our leader. We count on you, to make the plays when we need them, to step up and talk. Whatever the team needs, is pretty much what he's expected from me. So to have that confidence, for him to have that confidence in me, and for me to see that passion from him, and just be able to take that lead, I think that's the most part that he's helped me with my game, is just becoming a better leader.
Yeah, and it's awesome to see that displayed out there because, you guys took a tough loss with Bryce Enyard, his season-ending injury, and you would wish not that upon someone, but that it could, at least wait one more game through the championship because of how hard he's worked all season. Definitely defensive player of the year candidate. But you guys are a next man up mentality. Rocky Hayes was out there. He took sort of the reins and that role in Bryce's absence. So for you as a leader on this team, what do you feel you have to do in 2 weeks to bring home that championship?
I think we're going to have to do what we've been doing all season. And that's the best part about it, is that we feel like we got some things in place at the right time, and we don't have to do anything special. I don't feel like we have to go out there and try to do anything that we haven't done to get us to this point. Like you said, it's the next man up. So with Bryce being down, that's tough for any team to take that loss. But like the next man up, Rocky stepped up and played a great game. So I hope DBs are playing exceptionally well. Defense is playing exceptionally well going into this game. So, like I said, I think we just need to execute and do what we do good, and continue to just focus on what we do well, and I think we'll be all right.
Now, this matchup is one that I personally kind of wanted in the back of my mind because I don't know if we'll ever have a chance to get it again because, you don't know what's going to happen with the alignment next year. Did you have a preference on who you faced? Like, was there a sort of a conquest of team out there that you wanted to take down personally if you got the chance to?
No, I didn't really have, a dog in the fight or a pick. Really, I did enjoy the game, though. It was a great game. I enjoyed watching it. And I was just excited to see a good football game. So as far as that, I didn't really have a preference of who we played. But I am glad that we get to play Sioux Falls, like you said, because in the past years, this would have never been possible for these two teams to meet in the championship. So that's cool to see. And hopefully that the fans, both our fan bases, can enjoy that. But no real preference.
Now, Sioux Falls is in a position where they're making their 8th straight appearance in the United Bowl and have a chance to bring home, I think, their 11th overall championship if they win, where you guys, the Barnstormers as a franchise, this will be their 3rd appearance, but if you win, it would be the first ever for the franchise. Does that linger in anybody's mind in the locker room as far as just what a win in 2 weeks would mean to this franchise and the fan base?
I'm sure guys have thought about it. We haven't really talked about it as a team or anything like that. But because I think more of it for us is we want to win it for our guys in the locker room. It's not about what happened in the past or how many championships they have or how many championships we don't have. It's just about the guys in the locker room being able to execute and being able to go out there and make plays. So we try to, as much as we want to appreciate the history. And I'm sure there's guys that do that, but we really just want to focus on right now and what's going on and what's going to happen on July 7th.
Now that is spoken like a true leader. So Drew Powell, my man, you had one hell of a season, and it's not done yet. You guys won. You're not done. You're going to the United Bowl. You're going to host this thing, and it's going to be one hell of a party. So, hey, man, congratulations on everything that's happened so far in the season for you. Always great to talk to you. I will see you in 2 weeks at the Well.
All right, man. Sounds good, man. See you there. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. You take care of yourself.
All right, you too.
That was quarterback Drew Powell of the Iowa Barnstormers. Man, you can just hear leadership when he talks, man. And that's something that when I've done interviews with players, you can hear certain attributes about their personality. Like this guy's obviously, kind of the locker room clown, right? Like he can make anybody laugh in a tense moment. Or this guy's maybe the strong silent type where he doesn't like to do a lot of talking on the mic. He'll go out there and he'll show you what he's made of. And then there's the guy that he talks to you in a way that it's not so much player or coach speech where they're giving you the answer that has been rehearsed. They're giving you a genuine response that sounds like it's rehearsed because it's something along the lines that you would hear from a tenured player, but the way they say it, it's like, no, this is genuine. Because there's a certain few ways that he could have spun that would make me think, man, I'm getting a rehearsed answer here. He's scripted. I did not get that feeling from him in that whole segment there, especially at the end there, talking about how playing for the guys in the locker room and not about what Sioux Falls has done and what Iowa hasn't done. I memean, that is leadership speak. That's not player or coach speak. That is leadership speak. So very well done, Drew Powell. I don't know if it was scripted or not, but you got one past me if it was. But I truly believe that was some genuine conversation there from the quarterback and leader of the Iowa Barnstormers. Very high praise for Dixie Wooten, and of course, why not? The man. A lot of people were skeptics about Dixie and his ability to coach a team, especially with the high turnover that Iowa experienced from last year to this year. Connor Ferguson and I will talk about that here in a few minutes. But, it's incredible to watch a whole season as closely as you do. And that's one of the advantages to one of these step-down leagues, the step below the big time of the NFL, the CFL, is that, one, you get a lot more of a sort of intimate feeling with the players and the coaches. You get a chance to get to know a lot more of them on a more personal level. And then because of the size of the league, 6 teams, 10 teams, 12 teams, whatever, you can focus in a lot more on certain aspects of different games because you're not trying to bounce around between 16 different matchups of 32 different teams. So I think it's been an incredible ride. The last 3 years of covering the sport has been a blessing. I mean, what else can you say about it? But it has been so much fun to do this, and I think that this year's United Bowl will probably be one of my favorite United Bowls. It is in the Well. It'll be my first United Bowl, not in Sioux Falls, but Sioux Falls will be there. Who will be crowned the 2018 Indoor Football League United Bowl champion? We'll find out in just less than 2 weeks' time now. I keep saying 2 weeks like today's Sunday or like today's Saturday. It is less than 2 weeks. In fact, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days. 11 days until we are about to crown a new champion. In fact, 11 days to the minute, because kickoff is 7:05 Central Time. It is 5:01 right now. So this time, 11 days from now, I'm going to be in the press box ready for this thing to kick the hell off, and let's go, man. I'm so excited for this game. I really am. I don't think I've been this excited for a game, championship game, since Spokane traveled to Sioux Falls, and we thought they were going to be the ones to finally take him down and dethrone him. But that didn't happen. That was all right. That was a humbling experience. That was a very different experience. But speaking of experience, Connor has a lot of it. He's been following the Barnstormers closely all season long. Can't wait for his insight and his thoughts on the 2018 United Bowl, Sioux Falls Storm versus the Iowa Barnstormers. Don't forget, all new BattleBot segment tomorrow night. And then Thursday, of course, we will give you a preview of probably some NAL games, just because there is no IFL to be played. So we'll give you a little preview of that. I'm working on my guests first Thursday now, but tomorrow night, Jameson Go, one of the new villains of BattleBots, which of course he's not, but that's how TV is portraying him. And we'll get his thoughts. We'll pick his brain about life on the television, what he thinks about his role in BattleBots and the Spotlight as Sawblaze. His bot, I believe, is 3-0 now. Very convincing wins. We did a new top 10, which I didn't get a chance to go over last week because I did the IFL awards. So I put them out the next day, and I don't know if I went over them on the show or not. I think I did them after. So we'll do a refresher after my chat with Connor. But don't go anywhere, folks. We got more Fan Show coming up right after this.
You're listening to The Fan Show, your home for all things football and nonsense. My special guest tonight, Farouk. Farouk, welcome.
He's no expert, but here's the thing. Football and nonsense is what he brings. Sports talk with a twist. It's The Fan Show.
Do you know him as Kevin from the League? It is none other than very funny Steve Ranazisi.
99% of the population doesn't know who I am, but the 1% do. They yell and scream inappropriate things at me in public.
Kyle Ray. Kyle, welcome.
And I was like, wow, I think we just saw the whole Super Bowl, Phyllis. It was like that scene in The Simpsons. Like, why rent the movie? I just saw the best part.
Funny man Brad Williams.
Yeah, I'm here. No, I flew in just for your podcast. I've heard about this podcast. I've heard it's fantastic.
It's Mac and Farva, but they are my special guests tonight. Steve Lemmy, Kevin Heffernan.
I was in Mexico for 10 weeks in a Speedo. Like, that was me going to work. I was putting on a Speedo.
Like Farva is the most fun to play, and it was a blast to do that again, to do Farva again.
So then the makeup artist had to put Vaseline on your body,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then put the powdered sugar on top of that. Is your name really Richard Siemens?
Listen live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night on Spreaker.com or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud.
All right, we are back for the second segment, special guest segment of the show. It is a journalist for Last Word on Sports, even does some writing for the Fan Show, part of Team Fan Show, but he is the man that follows the Barnstormers, well, maybe a little too closely sometimes, but that's an inside joke all on its own. Connor Ferguson is here. How you doing, man?
I'm not too bad. Always good to be on your show.
Yeah, and I wanted to have you on because I saw, I think yesterday, today, you're doing a special series for the Barnstormers leading up to the big title game. A lot of history happened this season, and history continues to happen for the Barnstormers. So what can we look forward to from you on a journalistic standpoint for this series you're doing?
So I don't want to say too much because I want to keep everyone surprised, but it'll be a few feature articles. Tomorrow I'll tell you Dixie Wooten is what that one's about. I'm going to have one coming on Bryce Inyard on his what he's got to do to get back in football shape and everything, and he's already, ready to start his road to recovery, and a little bit more about that, and I'll talk a bit more about him later. And a couple unique ones, stuff like I've done in the past. I know last year we did popular songs the last time the Barnstormers were in the playoffs. This year we're going to do the same thing, but the last time they were in the championship game in 1997. So we'll get some 90s songs in there. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, man. I'm looking forward to it because we've got, 11 days to kill now. But I think, look, my hope for this whole thing is that given everything that the Barnstormers have gone through the last two seasons, how close they came last year, now they get a shot at what I guess you would call revenge, because the team they're facing in the championship was the team that knocked them out of the playoffs to get to the championship last year. So there's quite the storyline there. They have played 3 times this year. They ended their streak in their house, but then fell the other 2 in thrilling games, really. But I think we're in for one of the best United Bowl matchups that we've had in a while. And I really want the fans to just pack this place. Like, I want the well to just be shaking, rattling, and rolling.
Yeah, like 2 things about that. I expect no less than 10,000 people there, not from reporting that standpoint, but I'd be disappointed if not more than 10,000 people from Des Moines could come out and see the Barnstormers in their first championship since they kind of did the rebuild or rebirth or whatever you want to call it. The other thing with Sioux Falls, it's turning into a big rivalry. Those games are always intense, and Iowa State fans can attest to this, but it reminds me of the Iowa State-Kansas rivalry in basketball, because Kansas, much like Sioux Falls, always finds some way to win no matter how good the Iowa State team is, much like Iowa.
Yeah. And I hope that you're right. 10,000 is a beautiful number for an event like this. Now, I don't know what they'll do about the upper bowl, but I would like to see them condense as many fans into seating as possible. Move them up as close as they want. Really get that home field advantage feel. I'm sure that Julie and the Pettits have a plan for this, but this will be really where what I believe is the best front office is hopefully going to show us just what they're made of on the biggest stage for this league. Now, Sioux Falls, of course, this is their 8th straight appearance in the championship. They could win their 11th. For Iowa, this is their 3rd appearance. It would be their first win if they came away with the victory. What, from your standpoint, what's been the mood, sort of the talk of Iowa since the ticket got punched over the weekend as far as how the fans feel about hosting a championship?
I haven't made it down to a practice yet because of school stuff I'm doing, but I've had a few people come up to me and ask me about the Barnstormers this weekend, which is a lot more than I've normally seen and talk to. So, a lot of people know about it, but I think the promotion still needs to go a bit further next week. They're doing a blackout for it. I just found that out a little bit ago. So it should be a fun game. I know Sioux Falls, the home finale last year, where I think both teams were tied for first place, and the winner hosted a playoff game against it was against each other again the next week. The winner hosted, and if Iowa didn't have 10,000 there, they had damn near it.
Wow. Okay, then. Did you have a preference on who the Barnstormers played in this game once Barnstormers got the win and you knew it was going to be in Des Moines at the Well?
Yeah, not at all. Just because you got to write about it either way. So if I was a Barnstormers fan, I could say, you want to see Arizona. You match up with them better. It's pretty clear. 3-0 against 1-2 record against Sioux Falls. So you definitely wanted Arizona. But I think judging from the past 2 games, I'd pick Iowa to win this game against Sioux Falls too.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it's going to be an incredible game. I really do. I worry about the loss of Bryce Enyard. Rocky Hayes obviously stepped in, did a fantastic job, but it's the right pieces turning in unison out there for 60 minutes. 11 guys on the field, and I just hope that this isn't too big of a loss for them. I really feel for Bryce just because he had such an incredible season. My pick for Defensive Player of the Year, and you just wish, that it didn't have to be the game before the championship. Like maybe the game before the game or like in the championship, but you at least want them to step out on that field, suited up for the championship game because they've, played so hard all season long. So I really feel for him. I don't know what his mood's been like lately, but I did reach out to him, and he seems in good spirits. But of course, he's a team player. It's going to take a lot to keep a man down that their team just punched their ticket to the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Bryce is a trooper. I haven't talked to him since Saturday, but he did a whole interview with me. He's tearing up. He had during the game found out about his injury He called his agent. His agent had already called the NFL teams that he was talking to, and they're not worried about the injury, most of them. So that was good news from him, and kind of set him in a little bit, a little positive from such a big negative. And I had something else, but I will for sure remember it in like 30 seconds when you're asking your next question.
That's fine. What I did want to know was, now that we've got some time to kill, you're going to be doing your series special, obviously. Have you heard anything from the front office, or like what their plans are to really get the word out there for this game? Like, are they going to add more airtime to local TV, or is there going to be any sort of special promotions for tickets? Like, do they have a plan of attack right now?
I wish I could tell you. I haven't talked to anyone up there for the past couple of days, but I'm sure they're working hard to get that arena filled. I know John worked tremendously hard to get the arena filled in 5 days for the last playoff game, the Nebraska game, and that wasn't a great crowd. But they don't hold seats for season ticket holders; they got to buy their playoff tickets, and that's how it's always been. But you still have to resell your entire arena in 5 days rather than 14 now, or 15, I guess, because they played the day before.
Yeah, he's got time to work with, and so I think for him, like I said, one of the best front offices in the game. So hopefully the fans, that haven't bought in, finally buy in now. I mean, if there's ever a time for someone to jump on the bandwagon, it's the championship game. But I think bandwagon or not, the team, the franchise, it really deserves to have close to a sellout crowd there. Just, even if it's not, just have that look, that allure that there is a packed place. But I mentioned earlier on the show that I think that this is, because of where it's going to be, this is an opportunity for fans of every team to come down and enjoy, one last hurrah for the 2018 season. So I would like to think that we could expect a lot of familiar faces from different teams' fan bases to be in attendance here.
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk today. I have even heard of a few Omaha Beef fans coming out of the game to tailgate. So that was on I think the Flight Crew Facebook. But yeah, there's the diehard fans of indoor football, and there for sure is going to be a few of them coming down to Des Moines. I know you're hosting the pregame party. Is that right, Jimmy? We're getting something together.
Yeah, I was going to do same thing as last time. Hopefully, much larger turnout. I think, obviously, now that the Flight Crew knows how it goes, and it's not going to be somebody's birthday this time around, then I might have a bit of a better outing. But I think it'll be a lot of fun. I do want to, and I'm going to reach out to the rest of the Flight Crew to find out if they want to do something there, or if they just want to have, a big tailgate, because I know that they're big on tailgating. I don't see why there wouldn't be enough time to do both, but I will definitely figure out like where my presence would be, the most valued and appreciated, and go from there. But I would like to do the same thing as last time, but I understand, that fans have their rituals, and if we got people coming in from out of town, you want to have them kind of be no holds barred out in the parking lot before the game, instead of on their, semi best behavior at a local pizza place down the street. So we'll see. I got a couple of days to put some plans in order, but yeah, very excited for it. I think this is going to be great for the city of Des Moines, and Joe Stacy gets to call his first championship game. So hopefully he's got butterflies by now, if he didn't already.
Yeah, I'm actually another one of the stories I'm doing in the next couple of weeks is on Joe too. So got a lot coming. I know Joe's going to do a good job up there.
Yeah, exciting stuff from Connor Ferguson. So, Connor, I appreciate you taking the time to be on now that we get set and count down to the 2018 United Bowl. Should be one of the best matchups, like we hope. You don't know until it's actually kickoff, but we'll be well underway about 11 days from now to determining who is going to be the champion for the 2018 season. Will it be Iowa, the Barnstormers, or will it be the Storm of Sioux Falls. So, Connor, you have a great rest of your night. I look forward to your series the next couple of weeks, and I will see you at the Well July 7th.
You too. I appreciate you having me on. I'll see you there.
All right, sounds good, man. Take care.
You too.
All right, that was Connor Ferguson. Last word on sports, the Fan Show, Iowa Barnstormers. It's got quite the resume, I will admit. It is fun to talk to someone who is, I don't want to say like at a similar point, because he does a lot of the writing. You know, the show is my thing. Writing is his thing. He's very good at it, very talented writer. But, you know, he's going through it the way that a parent or a mentor would tell their child or friend that this is the way that you need to do it. You know, he's going to school, he's doing the internships, he's doing the journalism things for all the opportunities around him, all the workshops, and he's a beat writer for a team. Me, I'm a bit more unconventional, but it's always fun to talk to him. We'll have these conversations where we kind of like gauge where we're at and what we've learned, and it's incredible the different experiences that we have between the two of us and just like what we've taken from them. So it's been a lot of fun to work with a guy like Connor. I will say that. It's been very enlightening. So I look forward to hopefully doing it for many years to come. And I promised you guys BattleBots weekly top 10 rankings, and we are going to go over those right now. So without further ado, in case you missed it from last week, and of course these will change. These will change tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new set of weekly top 10, a new power rankings for the NAL. We're done with power rankings for the IFL. The stage is set. We're going to the United Bowl. So here they are. Number 10 is Blacksmith. It was number 10 last week. He's not moving. Al Kindle, great driver, incredible bot design. I just think the world of this bot. So number 10, and he's had some really good fights. Number 9 is Huge, down 3 spots from the previous week. Number 8 is Minotaur, down 3 spots from the previous week. Number 7 is Monsoon, up 1 from the previous week. Now, they had a big win, and they are undefeated so far this season. Up 3 from last week at number 6, Sawblaze. Like I said, Jameson Go and this bot are making some waves in this sport. I love watching it. It's fantastic. I cannot get enough of what Sawblaze is doing. He's going to be on the show tomorrow. Can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Number 5, Bite Force, down 1 from last week. Number 4, Endgame, down 1 from last week. Number 3, Bronco, previously unranked, and a lot of people thought that maybe Bronco's debut on the weekly top 10 was a bit high, but when you consider the history of the bot, who their opponent was, and the manner in which they won, I mean, I was worried I was going to have to put him at like number 2, but 3 or 4, it was a tough decision, but I think Bronco is one of the best bots out there. And like I said, my tiebreaker is, can they beat the bot above them? And if they can't, they stay, where they are. And then, of course, can they beat the bot below them? And if they can, they stay obviously where they are. And if they can't, they drop one or they swap. But been a lot of fun to do these. Number 3, Bronco. Number 2, Ice Wave, no movement. Number 1, Tombstone still. And so it's, what have you done for me lately? Well, Tombstone is undefeated, so he's done a lot lately. He continues to win in very definitive fashion, and he's beaten 2 of the best. He beat Minotaur. Who was the other one that he beat? Oh, yeah, Gigabyte. Ice Wave, very convincing wins. Beat Yeti, knocked them out of the top, the weekly top 10, but I'm sure Yeti will be back because Yeti was ranked in the top 5 for a while. And then Bronco, I think they'll probably hang around for a bit. But so what have you done for me lately? What is your record? Your strength of opponent, strength of victory, and then could you beat the bot above you? Could you beat the bot below you? Plain and simple, okay? So for those of you that disagree with your rankings, I'd love to have a discussion, compare my rankings to yours. Let's do that. Oh, wait. Nobody else does rankings but me. So mine are what you get. I'm sorry. That's a little egotistical of me, but I'm sorry. I get, a little salty sometimes when people get all up on me about a thing that I do that they don't do. It's like, really? Which I know I'm just as guilty of in certain aspects of life. I strongly dislike, certain actors, comedians, or bands or musicians, but I'm not out there singing, acting, or performing. But I do this, and so I take pride in doing this, whatever this is. And if you don't like it, you don't gotta listen. You can chime in, sure, but I'm gonna fire back at you. I do. I get nasty out there. Not nasty. That's a stretch. I don't hesitate to clap back at somebody, because I don't think that they expect me to. And then I clap back, and it's like, then it gets quiet. So that's a lot of fun. I'll get you guys, I'll post some pictures of the new studio. Post some pictures of what it looks like now. Inside Fan Cave Studio, the new desk and everything. It was, yesterday was a day putting this thing together. But it looks fantastic. I'm very pleased with the amount of open space that I have now. So that is going to do it for this Tuesday edition of the Fan Show. Tomorrow night, a new edition of the show, our BattleBot special, our weekly special, continues. And I do want to encourage all of you that cannot listen live to subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and of course, Spreaker.com has the podcast version and episode archive, and you can also listen live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, or you can listen live on the live tab at thefanshow.com, your home base for all things football and nonsense. Keep up with me on social media. It's always a lot of fun. Love interacting with you guys. We got Snapchat and Instagram. Both are The Fan Show. And then Facebook is facebook.com/fanshowofficial. And Twitter is @fanshowofficial. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, once again. Until next time, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners. And remember, of course, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his own player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.